Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Um, so in my last video, which was a IF farming video, um, people commented on the video saying that it was not the most productive way to farm IF, which looking into the actual percentages, you guys were very, very right. I do still enjoy doing that. It's kind of like it's a fun way to get Aya, but I just thought that I'd make a video actually showing the percentages because I didn't think that they were actually this high. Again, with percentages, you may run a mission, you may not get it for a while, so you'd be like, "Oh, this is garbage." But either way, so again, it's gonna be an Ara kind of bounty mission or video. The missions are bounties are very easy to complete, even at like an early level. Usually high level people are in there farming them. Anyways, um, first of all, we're gonna go over Aya again. Aya is a resource which is used to purchase relics that are in rotation on the Prime Resurgence. Prime Resurgence is a way they can get Prime parts that are unvaulted or are vaulted, not unvaulted. Um, and that is a really good way for digital extremes to make it so the market isn't overpricing certain frames. If you've been playing the game for a long time, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like Ember Prime at one point was over 1,000 plat, 2,000, 3,000 plat. I remember selling one of mine that I slowly collected the parts over time because people, of course, would open them, and it it's a way to make it so people that are playing the game later on at an earlier stage, even if they are really into it and putting in a lot of hours, getting that 3,000 plat just to get like an Ember Prime is just not worth it. But um, yeah, so that's kind of why they introduced the whole Maru or not Maru's Bros, the Prime Surgeons. Um, you can get this from a vendor named Varzia in Maru's Bazaar. Now, and if you remember watching my other video, you can also go to the store in the Orbiter, and you can buy them through there. Really easy way to make plat. If you want to just sell the relics, you can say, "Hey, selling Aya," and then people will probably pay you like I don't even know how much plat, depending on how far the rotation is. If it's in there quite a bit, those are probably gonna sell. But you gotta also remember that there has been times where they do events where basically every frame, again, it's kind of rare, but every once in a while they do an event where all relics are put onto the Prime Resurgence rotation or whatever. So everyone can get every vaulted warframe. So that will, of course, lower the price of every one of those warframes and whatnot. But what you can also do is you can buy those parts and hold on to them. You can also open them, try and get the parts and hold on to them, and then you can sell it for even more plat. But again, depending on how fast you want plat, if you want to sell them or even if you want the parts. This is kind of just the plat side. Getting those parts and holding on to them for 3 4 months, usually the price goes up. Now again, that's quite a long time, but if you're doing this every rotation and waiting for those prices to double, most of the time they double around that rough estimate of time. You can get those. Uh, it's pretty easy to do. So now that we kind of have the what I is down, I'm just going to go over before we get into the bounties what the drop chances were for per mission, which per mission, depending on which ones you do, could be a minute to 10 minutes around there. Again, depending on what you're doing, capture, survival, defense, whatnot, and depending on what rotation it is, it could be 15 minutes, 20 minutes if it's like on C rotation. Uh, but roughly around the percentages for those are around 5 to 15%, which is not good. It really isn't. That's such a abysmal chance for something that you really need to be spending a lot of to be able to get your time invested reward back, to make it worth your time. So yes, so now we're gonna head over to the bounties. Bounties are in the open world areas of the game. You go in, you talk to the respected bounty giver, whatever, mother. We got a Kanzu, and then I forget what the Fortuna one is, but um, so the first stage of the mission, because there's 5 stages. Also before we get into this, the percentages that I have for these bounties are based off of the level 40 to 60 missions. If you do anything lower than that, the percentages go down quite substantially. So I would recommend going into those 40 to 60 missions, playing your best frame, trying to just farm these out as fast as possible. Again, if you're trying to get Aya very fast. Also, pretty good way to level up warframes. Not the best, but also, I mean, it's better than sitting in a defense mission, um, not really getting anything. You're just gaining XP. Sure, it's faster, but with this way, you're leveling a little bit slower, but also you're gaining plat. Anyways, um, stage 1 of all the bounties, no matter what stage you're on, do not drop, or not stage, whatever level you are, do not drop Aya. That is something you got to keep in mind, that when you do the first one, you're not going to get it no matter what. So, stages 2 and 3 after stage 1, those are when you start getting the drops. So, Cambion Drift, with stage 2 and 3 have a 28.5% chance to drop, that's pretty decent, not bad. The Plains of Eidolon has a 33.04% chance to drop, and Fortuna has a 20% chance to drop. So the Plains of Eidolon in those stages 2 and 3 have a higher percent chance. That's good. That's what you kind of want to hit that, and you just want to. I feel like the Plains of Eidolon is also the easiest to run, so those are really good numbers to be thinking about. Stage 4, which is after the second and third one, Cambion Drift is at a 22.22%. The Plains of Eidolon is at a 25.68% chance, so still Plains of Eidolon is holding king in that. Fortuna is a 16.67% chance to drop, which is abysmal. That is terrible. That's almost a normal mission, which, I mean, granted, each stage of the bounties usually take around 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You sometimes even less depending on which one you get, but and then stage 5, this is the interesting one here. Cambion Drift has a 43.48% chance, almost half the time you complete that stage of the bounty, you're gonna get Aya, which is pretty good, right? But Plains of Eidolon, 38.78% chance, and Fortuna is at a 33.33% chance. All of those are decent, but again, Fortuna is still, for what is going up against, which is Eidolon and the Cambion Drift, it's not worth running. So if you're trying to run Fortuna for Aya, don't. It's not worth it. Yeah, so some of you might be thinking of that 43.48% chance, being like, oh, Cambion Drift, this is the one to run. But if we actually look at the averages of the percentages, Cambion Drift is at 30.71%, and the Plains of Eidolon is at 32.65%, and Fortuna is at 22.5%. So if you're really looking at the numbers, the actual chance of getting it to drop the fastest would probably be the Plains of Eidolon. But again, the percentages are weird. Percentages are really weird, because the Cambion Drift being that higher percentage, you could hypothetically be getting that to drop a lot more than on the Plains of Eidolon. But the Plains of Eidolon gives you that higher percent chance per mission. And again, it's all about speed, which you're trying to go for here. Um, and percentages wise, of course, those are going to help. And especially for how high these numbers actually are, uh, the best way to farm Aya would definitely be to be doing it through the bounties. Roughly, so I've done a couple of Eidolon ones, and I roughly get around maybe 8 to 10 minutes, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less per mission. Um, Cambion Drift is the infested zone. If you were a little newer to the game, I would recommend not going there to do these. It's a little hard. The skill increases higher. The enemies there are specifically for that zone. You don't see those type of infested anywhere else. There's a lot of armor on some of them. There's a lot of toxin going around, and they aren't compared to the normal missions for infested. They are not as squishy. Normally, infested on every other mission is just hordes and hordes of enemies and a lot of a lot of dots put around. But that isn't like that on the Cambion Drift. They're quite tanky. But on the Plains of Eidolon, they're basically basic Grenier. You can get over, go there and just easily deal with it. There's nothing too huge going around. It's the oldest out of all of them. Also, another reason why I kind of like running the Plains of Eidolon is whenever there is, what are they called? The tier lists that spawn at night. I always seem to miss nighttime. I don't know how long it lasts. I think it's like 40, 50 minutes, but I always, or 30 minutes maybe. I always seem to miss it, so I'm never able to farm those. But if you're doing this, you can do, okay, at night, I'm gonna specifically farm for the terrorists hunts, and then once it's daytime, I'll just spend my time farming Aya. It's a really, really cost-effective way to use your time because one, you're farming for Aya, so you're maybe getting frames that you don't have, weapons that you might not have, farming up mastery rank, or farming Plat. Either one that you choose. There's a lot that you can get, and then you can farm the terrorists at night, and then you get a maxed out arcane energize, which would be prima. So yes, so again, thank you guys so much for commenting on that last video and really showing me the light of the bounties. But yeah, with that, if you guys could leave a like, subscribe. This is a little bit of a different video style that I normally do. Tell me if you guys like it compared to my other ones. My other ones I kind of just wing it. This one I'm doing a little bit more of a, I don't know. I don't even know if it's more of a professional style. Just a different style. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Yeah. Thank you.